Follow me on Instagram and get access to a lot of exclusive content and short videos that are never released to the YouTube public at Tiny Boat Nation.
I'll take care of that issue to where it's uniform now.
Like PVC too, just one on each side. PVC is actually heavy. It actually has a lot of weight. And I really don't have plans to run up a gas tank most of the time. Really, I just want the... We just have to make the faceplates now. The faceplates would be interesting. I only seeded these for 6. I think I have 12 tubes. What I might do is seed in one extra large, like PVC tube, just one on each side, because the PVC is obscenely heavy. It actually has a lot of weight to your boat. You can have everything else light, and PVC is just fat. Anything that's plastic is heavy. Plastic is not light. But we're gonna be running a 6-horse Yamaha. So what we're gonna do, we went down here, we cross-membered it. This is an aluminum plate, which is awesome, because once you do that, you can rivet the frame to the aluminum plate. So we did that, and we did it down. So now, we're not riveting anything to the bottom of the frame, obviously, but we're gonna need something to kind of wall off, and then angle right here, rivet up this, to make a base for a wall. We'll put a super thin sheet of aluminum that we have right there, right here. The more dense, the more durable it is, the more heavy it is. It's just the way it is. So we have super thin plastic ones. These, they're so thin you can't do much with them, but they're about perfect height. They end up being about perfect for what we needed them for here. So we were gonna go ahead and run them because they don't weigh nothing. 14 rods spread in this boat. If we can get 14 rods in this boat, that's insane. If we didn't have that double wall, this locker would actually be much bigger. Just the 1 inch actually takes off a lot of usable space that you could put in a locker. Absolutely needed. There's no way this boat would work without the double walls on each side. It simply wouldn't work. We also got to start running wires for the trolling motor. For the fish finder, we start running that thing, which we'll probably run that up this side. Here this. The power lead. A little wall here that we're going to have for the actual wire itself that we can install. I remember now. I had this whole thing mapped out in my head. I just never draw them on paper, and then I forget. But I eventually remember. So, like, you know, win there, right? So it seems we'll have just enough wire to loop over where we want the fish finder. So probably on this side, right? Correct? So it's gonna, because there will be extra stuff here. There's gonna be a lot of stuff hanging out the back, so this kind of complicates things. You might have to do some extra planning. Sweet. Okay. Here, a jack plate kit. So it's a pretty thick angle project, to be honest. Let me give you the plate. So there that goes. That looked pretty nice. Okay, so the motor, the clamps fit on all right. As you can tell, this motor is pretty fitting for the boat in terms of size. So, I mean, this boat is specifically rated right for a 6-horse. So, that's what it's rated for. Meaning that this motor should theoretically push this boat very well. It's just hideously ugly. That's my only real complaint about it, is just butt ugly. The motor is ugly. I'm sorry, Yamaha. I don't really care. If this hurts your feelings, you've got to start putting out better looking motors. This thing is hideous. So we can lock those so they don't shift. Another thing about this motor is it doesn't have any like through bolts. That's a fail. Like even Mercury's smaller motors are smart enough to put through bolts on their mounts. So not fantastic, but that being said, this motor does really have super ultra low emission. It is fairly quiet, at least for a 4-stroke carbureted motor. I mean, you know, the EFIs are way more quieter than the actual carbureted units. But it does get really good gas mileage. It does do all right. It really does. So we'll just maybe see about it. One of these days, maybe they'll put out EFI 6 horses and 5 horses. That'll be the day, huh? When they do that. The end of the carburetor issues. We're gonna just slightly rough this paint up. Ever so slightly, just break the surface. This is gator skins. Now it's got the little bit of it left of the pebble version. And we're gonna go ahead and put it over here. We'll be layering it to fold over here, which we'll have to maybe use a heat gun to make sure it stays. But I already had it heated up in the sun for a little bit, so it's a little bit more pliable than usual. So aside from just having a specific layer of protection, the gator skin is actually going to be a more stable option to mount detachable stuff from. Like even if you folded this over your transom and stuck your outboard to it, you ever see those videos where the outboards just kind of fly off the motor in those like boat fail videos? Just a piece of this on the back of your transom, where the teeth on the back of your transom mount for your motor grip, that would pretty much stop it. We're going to use the same concept. We're going to layer the side paddles right there. We generally do that for all boats and gator skins because that's the first place you're going to step on when you're trying to get off the boat from a dock or wherever. And then the initial layer that's getting closer to the motor mount itself is specifically for the shallow water anchors we're about to mount, because they're going to have similar issues. They're going to be bolt-on, just like the outboard, and the back is going to have teeth that grip into the transom. The teeth just naturally don't grip into aluminum very well, and some of it damages. That's why we have that extra aluminum plate there from Nate's shop. But this is the real key, and this actually does phenomenally better because we tested it both ways, without the gator skins and now with it. And personally, it's a win. It's going to help that significantly in terms of actual staying power. You even go the extra mile and add a little piece of something here just so you have like serious grip. And now we're going to add these trailer dollies. You can buy these for like $100 or $200 somewhere on Bass Pro Shops or Amazon, but we had these lying around. I'll put a link in the description if you don't want to make these, but they're fairly easy to make. If you want to just get the angle and the tubing from your local shop, and then some cheap wheels from Harbor Freight and some bolts from a hardware store, you can just make these fairly seamlessly to whatever length you want. And it just takes some drilling, some holes, and the only thing you might have trouble finding is some detent pins. We use 5/16 inch detent pins, but you can get little like pins like that from Harbor Freight. They're not, you know, rain grade, but they'll hold and they'll do the job. So that one's on now. We'll have to re-drill the same exact hole down there. That'll be slightly more difficult to get it correct, like on the top tee. But then again, no, it won't, because we'll just be able to, I'll show you how to do that hole in a little bit. We're not going to do it right now though. But see all these holes from previous generations of this happening, but this is a permanent fixture. We're not changing this. I have to just finish the hole down there, and what I would do is I would just take this out, pin it kind of to the side here, and then measure the hole. And that would be all I'd do for that, or you could probably just easily match it here. But this will go down like this, and that will just clear the end to give me an axle to drive. These are, I got these from like Tractor Supply, but they sell these cheap wheels. They're kind of bigger. They're gonna go through sand and gravel a little better than the track ones that are just meant to go down ramps. You can get these at Harbor Freight for like dirt cheap. They're like 10 bucks a wheel or maybe less. Everybody keeps asking me if I'm gonna put actuators on these, and my answer is no. I'll tell you why. I want these like this because people are more worried about whether or not these are going to dig down on a mechanical setting and stay there. And I'm telling you, with a watercraft like this, that's not even like an issue. In fact, for watercraft even bigger than this, like say something the size of my boat out there, it's still not an issue. Really, they will stay. I'll talk about some manual ones that'll actually stake down. A lot of people ask me why not just get a micro anchor. I've never advocated for micro anchors because I don't like them. Because their motor is not very strong in terms of digging down, and sometimes they get stuck. You got to pull them out anyways, and it's all that money. Now, some people love the micro anchor. Likely, if you're on a kayak, a micro anchor would hold you, but so does a piece of PVC with a string. That will hold you just the same as a micro anchor will, and it's like 50 bucks. These are nice and durable. The bigger thing about liking these manual is they will float. That means as waves come and hit me and the boat's rocking, this is going to free move up and down and stay down there and still hold me. It's fine. And this rope, just make sure it stays on that end, so then whenever you're ready to grab it, you just pull it back up. Relock them, and it goes on this hinge that locks in. And that's, now you could put actuators. We have had people in the Tiny Boat Nation that have done that. They seem pretty content with the whole actual operation of it. I just don't particularly want to do it. But I will tell you, I'll be around, I'll see something, I'll come back. I'll actuate these, because walking up and down this deck seamlessly with no problems is going to be way better than like the experience of you trying to do this on like an equal sized kayak. It's gonna be like night and day. So come back down here to pop these and actuate these and let them drop so you can go back up there and get on your fish, or stay pinned in the wind, stay whatever direction you want to stay because you're on fish. It's not gonna be a problem. This boat will be lighter than it was ever going to be to begin with. And even if we had followed through with the old frame, it still would have been light enough to be truck beddable and self-launchable and self-recovering with these trailer dolls. It was going to be able to do it anyways, but we could do so much better with so much more and make it even lighter with this gen framing, and coming up soon, the decking. Next, we're going to get into the sidewalls and the actual rod locker panels. That'll probably be the next video coming out, where we really start to tie in the very, very big majority of why we still have this all blank here. You'll start to see this all come into fruition and get developed. And I have this port down here. People are asking me now, since I put that portable live well out, well, Mike, why not a portable live well jack into your boat that you can have the jack ready, and you can hook in a portable live well in and out of your boat at will. And I think that is a fantastic idea. I'm going to go ahead and do that for you guys, since this is a requested video. And guess what? Flowrite wants it too. So we're definitely going to get it done. There's my main rig for recording big stuff. And so I'll be doing some cool things here. So we'll be going downstate to go on a fishing trip. Boat's ready to go. It's ready and rocking, ready to travel all the way down Arizona. And so I'll be seeing some of my people here pretty soon. So see you guys out there.